A formal welcome to everyone. So this is the first video tutorial for class 5th of computer science subject. So today in this tutorial we will discuss our chapter 1 with the name of introduction to the computer. Okay, so this is our chapter 1 and the chapter name is our introduction to the computer. So in this chapter there are several topics. There are some topics about which we will discuss brief. Okay, so these are the topics, these are the key points about which we will discuss. First one is our computer, second one is our history, means the evolution of the computer from ancient period till now. Okay, the third one is our components of the computer, that what are the components, what are the parts of the computer by which the computer is made up of. Then our components of the hardware, that what are the components, what are the parts of the hardware which include in the computer by which the computer system is made up of. So the next one is our generations of the computer, means the generation from first generation to the fifth, like first generation computer, second generation computer, like how it was the type, how it was looked like, and what is the variation from the ancient period till now. So these things will discussed in the generation of the computer. Okay, and then next topic is our types of computer, means the categories of the computer on the basis of the different tasks, on the basis of performance of the computer. They are categorized into various parts, various types. So we will discuss the types of the computer. Then next one is our application area of the computer, that what are the application of the computer system, what are the usage of the computer system in the various areas. So this thing we'll discuss. So these are the key points which we'll discuss one by one in this video tutorial. So first topic is our computer. So like this is the computer, that since humans are born with intelligence, like we know that when the human being are born, so they are intelligent by birth. Okay, they have the brain, they have the IQ, they can think, they can take the decisions. Okay, so they have the ability for the same, they have the ability to take the decision, they have the ability to find out right and wrong things, right? So they have always thought of ways that would make things easy for them. Okay, that if we have some problems, so we know we can find out the best solution to overcome from those problems, right? So one of the problems encountered by men was counting the things. Everything can be done by the human being, but the major problem was with the human being, like was counting. Like if there is a large number of equations, so that it is difficult, it is complex for the human being to compute that. So if, suppose I just gave you a number 2 plus 2, so it is very easy to calculate 2 plus 2 is equals to 4, and you can calculate within the seconds, right? But if I give you the largest number, like if I give you the point based number, if I give you the some millions number, and I would just want to plus with the other millions number, so it is difficult, it is quite difficult for the human being, because of the values is very large, right? So it is so that's why it is very complex for the human being to calculate, to count those things, those numbers, right? Because of this, he invented something that could help him count fast and easy. Okay, so to overcome this problem, to just find the solution of this problem, he just needed to invent something. So he means the person who faced the problem since earlier, like in ancient period I talk about. So he invented a thing which can calculate, which can simplify these problems, and the thing, the product he invented is known as the computer. So what is computer? The term computer is derived from the word compute. The word compute means to calculate. Simply it comes from the Greek word compute, which means to calculate, the thing which can be calculated as by the computer, right? So this device is known as the computer. Then computer is an electronics device. We know that it takes the input, process it, and produce the output, right? And we also know that the computer is an electronic device that can perform arithmetic operations at an amazingly high speed. Arithmetic means your addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, right? So these are the arithmetic operation, and it can be done by the computer system in very nicely way, in very fast, in very accurate way, right? So the computer can do these things very easily in efficient manner. So this is all about the computer definition, right? Next one is our history, that what is the evaluation of the computer. ये कहाँ से originate हुआ, ये आया कहाँ से, right? So this is some points. This is a brief history of the computer system. बहुत सारी हैं, इसके अलावा भी बहुत सारी evaluation है, but it has these some points to discuss the brief history of the computer. So first one is Blaise Pascal invented the first mechanical adding machine in 1642. So he invented a machine in 1642 to add the things, to add the numbers, to add the things, right? So next one is our Baron Gottfried Wilhelm von Leibniz invented the first calculator for multiplication in 1671. In 1671 these person were invented a machine which was used for the multiplication of the numbers, right? Then next one is our keyboard machines originated in United States around 1880. Okay, this was also the the famous one evaluation, the famous one evolution of the computer, right? Then next one is around 1880 Herman Hollerith came up with the concept of punch card. Okay, he gave a concept of punch card, and these cards were extremely used as input media until late 1970. Okay, so what he did actually, so he made a punch card, he developed a punch card by which he just saved around $5 million money of the government. Okay, and he established a company that would ultimately become IBM, जो अभी हम जानते हैं IBM international business machine, right? So it was done by that person. Okay, now next one is our 1822. We know that English mathematician Charles Babbage, and we know very well this name. This name is it is a star of the computer system, right? We know that the Charles Babbage is the father of the computer system, who actually developed the actual concept of the computing of the computer system, right? So what Charles Babbage did, he conceives of a steam driven calculating machines that would be able to compute tables of numbers, right? So these are the things which was made by the Charles Babbage. He designed difference engine in 1822. Okay, so he started to design some engine in 1822. Then after that he designed fully automatic analytical engine, and it was very famous invention of him. So the main concept of the computing is started from 1842, when Charles actually developed a analytical engine for performing basic arithmetic function. So it was only developed for the basic arithmetic calculations, right? So this was the problem, that's why these things were generated and developed. Okay, and then next one, what he did, his efforts established a number of principles that are fundamental to the design of any digital computer. Means he gave number of methods, number of fundamentals, number of concepts to design a modern digital computer what we are using nowadays. So he already gave at that time these things, and on that concept, on that basis, all the digital computers were established from then to now, right? So this is the brief history of the computer. Yeah, next one is, again we know that it is a electronic device. It performs the logical and arithmetical operations, and it consists of hardware and software. So how the computer is made up of? Computer system is made up of two parts. First one is a hardware and second one is the software. So we know that there are two components of the computer, the hardware and the software, right? So what is the hardware component? Computer hardware includes the physical parts of a computer, right? Means the intangible part that you can touch, you can feel, you can see the thing, and it is visible to all, it is tangible to all, you can touch it. So this is the hardware of the computer, okay, such as your case, central processing unit, your monitor, your mouse, your keyboard, your printer, okay. So your scanner, your light pen, so these are the things which is intangible, you can touch it, you can feel it, and it is very visible to you. So these are the hardware of the computer. And what are the software? Software is that part of a computer which can neither be seen or not touched, means it is intangible, right? Software consists of various programs that enables the user to interact with the computer, like your operating system, like your Windows, it is also the software, like your MS Word on which you just type the things, like your some games, like your Paint, you are doing painting on the Paint application, so this is also the software. You cannot touch it, right? It is inside the system, you can only see these things but cannot touch, right? Even not seen, even you don't know that how it is made up of, right? So this is the software. Software is nothing, it is a way to communicate with the user to the computer hardware. ये computer hardware और user के बीच में एक तरह का इंट्रैक्शन मोड होता है. अगर आपके सिस्टम में सॉफ्टवेयर नहीं होगा, आपका सिस्टम वर्किंग नहीं होगा. सपोज लेट्स टेक एन एग्जांपल ऑफ अ ह्यूमन बीइंग. वी आर द ह्यूमन बीइंग, आवर हैंड्स, आवर आईज, आवर नोज, आवर फिंगर्स, आवर लेग्स आर द टेंजिबल पार्ट, राइट? आवर ब्रेन इज ऑल्सो, बट actually the instructions, like if I talk about our soul, राइट? तो जो सोल है हमारी विच इज इंटेंजिबल, हम उसे नहीं देख सकते, बट इट इज इनसाइड द बॉडी और इट ऑपरेट्स ऑल द थिंग्स. वी अज्यूम लाइक दिस ना. सो सोल इज लाइक अ सॉफ्टवेयर, जो सारी चीज़ें जो हमारी बॉडी को कंट्रोल करती है, राइट? हमारी बॉडी में अगर वी आर लिविंग थिंग, सो हम लिविंग कैसे हैं? बिकॉज वी हैव दिस कैपेसिटी, वी हैव सोल काइंड ऑफ पर्सनैलिटी in own, right? So that's why all the movements of the body is can be done, right? So this is all about the software do. A software is also like a soul which controls, which manages the hardware functionality, right? So this is all about the software, right? It gives you the method how to perform the task. अब हमारा माइंड हमें जो चीज़ बोलते हैं हम वही करते हैं ना, right? So similarly, next one is our components of the hardware. So we have done the hardware, but what are the components of the hardware? So hardware में कौन कौन से component आते हैं? First one is our input devices, second one is our output devices, then our central processing unit, that is CPU, then storage devices where the data is stored. So what is the input devices? Input devices are used to send data and instructions into the computer system. अब हमें कंप्यूटर को कोई अपना इनपुट भेजना है, तो we have a mode, we have a device by which we can send the data to the computer system, right? तो जैसे आपका कीबोर्ड हो गया, आपका माउस हो गया, आपका स्कैनर हो गया, ये सारी क्या है, इनपुट डिवाइसेस है जिनके थ्रू आप डेटा कंप्यूटर को सेंड करते हो, राइट। देन आपका है आउटपुट डिवाइसेस। अब आपने डेटा दे दिया, सपोज आपने कंप्यूटर खोला, उसमें आपने कैलकुलेटर खोला, आपने बाय द कीबोर्ड दिया 2+2, तो आपने इनपुट कहाँ से दिया, कीबोर्ड से, तो ये इनपुट डिवाइस हमारी कौन सी हो गई, कीबोर्ड। अब आउटपुट प्रोड्यूस कहाँ होगा, ऑन दी मॉनिटर। तो आउटपुट जो डिवाइस विच इज यूज टू प्रोड्यूस द आउटपुट फ्रॉम द कंप्यूटर सिस्टम, जो कंप्यूटर से आउटपुट प्रोड्यूस कर रही है, उस डिवाइस को हम बोलते हैं आउटपुट डिवाइस। Such as your monitor is also the output device, your printer is the output device, your speakers जहाँ से आप songs आते हैं, सुनाई देते हैं, वॉइस आपकी जनरेट होती है, ठीक है। सो दीज आर दी आउटपुट डिवाइसेस। देन योर CPU, what is the CPU? CPU stands for the central processing unit. It is a small chip inside the CPU box of the computer system. We know that CPU is the brain of the computer system. सारी चीज़ें जो होती हैं वो सब कौन करता है, CPU करता है, right? It performs all the functions and calculation. It also controls the other parts of the computer system. अब हमारी बॉडी है, we have the soul also, लेकिन अगर हमारे पास ब्रेन नहीं होगा, माइंड नहीं होगा, तो क्या हम काम, we are capable to do the task, we are capable to perform the things? नहीं ना। Similarly, computer system must have the CPU, because of without CPU it is like a box, nothing, it is like a box without the CPU. आपकी कोई input devices, आपकी कोई output devices कुछ नहीं work करेगा if it doesn't have the CPU. Okay. And next one is your storage devices. Storage devices are the memory where the data is stored. Okay, so secondary storage is used to store program and data for future use and safety. Whenever you want to retrieve the data, you can retrieve from the secondary storage. As in your phone there is a memory card, right? So memory card you just save your pictures, your videos, so it is also a storage device, right? Your memory card is a storage device. Whenever you need, you retrieve the data from the computer, like from your mobile, because a mobile is also the computer, right? Okay, so this is all about the components of the hardware. There is a components of the software, but not in your course, so we will not discuss here, and it will come in another chapter. Then we will discuss about the software components also, right? Next one is our generation of the computer. So what are the generation in a computer terminology is change in a technology. The change in the technology, change in the version is known as the generation. Okay, a computer was being used. Initially the generation term was used to distinguish between varying hardware technologies. Nowadays generation includes both hardware and software, which together make up an entire computer system. We know that there are two major components of the computer system. First one is the hardware and the second one is the software. So the enhancement, the modification in the hardware as well as the software time by time is known as the generation of their systems, right? Okay, so let's discuss about the first generation. So during the period of 1940 to 1956, remember, from 1940 to 1956 first generation of computer were developed. They used vacuum tubes as a processor in them. Okay, so they are basically what they are using, they were using the vacuum tubes as the basic components for memory and circuitry for the CPU. Okay, to store the data, to process the data, they use vacuum tubes, right? And these tubes, like electric bulb, produced a lots of heat because of it is like a electric bulb, so they produced lots of heat, and the installation used to fuse frequently. Okay, so that's why they were very expensive, and the only large organization, means the powerful organizations can only afford those things, means the first generation computer system if they needed. The small organizations organization, the small companies could not be able to purchase, could not be able to install these computer system, the first generation. Okay, so there is some example of a first generation computer system are Mark 1, a UNIVAC, ENIVAC. So this was the famous example, this was the famous type of computer system which was developed in the first generation in between of 1940 to 1956. So let's discuss about the Mark 1 in brief. So there is, as you can see on this slide, there is a picture. This is a real picture which was actually printed on the newspaper at that time, means at the time of in between 1940 to 1956. This is the real picture which was actually published on the newspapers. Okay, so Mark 1 was designed by Howard H. Aiken in 1944. It was the first automatic calculator which took 3 to 5 seconds per calculation. Okay, it took only 3 to 5 seconds to calculate the numbers, right? It was about 15 meter long in length, and the wires that connected the various parts of the machine were 800 kilometer long. Means the wire which connected the components of the computer at that time was 800 kilometer long. As you can assume that how it was long, it was just like a city kind of, like we can assume that 800 kilometer wire, right? So okay, fine. So the Aiken solved the advanced mathematical physics problems encountered in his research. Okay, so Aiken ambitious proposal envisions the use of modified commercially available technologies coordinated by a central control system. Okay, so this was about the Mark 1 which was developed. Okay, next one is our first generation computer is UNIVAC. Okay, UNIVAC means the Universal Automatic Computer. Okay, J. Presper Eckert and John Maudsley developed UNIVAC 1 in the year of 1951. Okay, it was the first computer which was used to handle both numeric as well as text data. So Mark 1, as you know that Mark 1 was used to perform the mathematical calculation. So because of it was only developed for the mathematical calculation, it was only developed for the numbers. So when the someone wants to calculate the text also, to manipulate the text also, so it was very difficult by the Mark 1. So it was, that's why the UNIVAC was developed. So it handles both the data, numeric as well as the text. Okay, so UNIVAC was the first electric computer which was commercially available. It weighted 13,000 kilogram. Okay, I repeat, the weight of this computer system was 13,000 kilogram and occupied an area of 35.5 square meter. Okay, so how it was long, so it is it is smaller than the Mark 1, but as you can see on the picture also, it is smaller than the Mark, but the weight of this computer system was very heavy, right? So there are some characteristics of the UNIVAC. What are the characteristics? They were difficult to program and use, they were very large in size, the speed was quite slow, they could not store much data. Okay, they were very expensive also. Okay, production of heat was in large amount. Okay, so that this was the major characteristics. So we can also take as a disadvantage of that computer system, but though it was developed at that time, so it was it was kind of miracle. Okay, so okay, yes, our next one is ENIVAC. ENIVAC was the first electronic general purpose digital computer. It was Turing complete and that able to solve a large class of numerical problem, though reprogramming. Through the reprogramming, it can handle the large amount of numerical programs. Okay, so there is also a computer system like ENIAC, electronic numerical integrator, and the computer. That ENIAC was developed by John Presper. It is also developed by the same developer and John V. Motley in 1946, and it had 18,000 vacuum tubes which occupied 63 square meter and weighted more than 27,000 kilogram. And it was originally designed for helping the army in launching missiles and bombs, and accurately it has to be programmed by the manual writing. Though the Mark I was developed by at the time of Second World War, so after that it was developed by for the army help, right? So this was all about the first generation computer system, and this was the models of the first generation computer system, right? So let's discuss about the second generation. Yes, second generation is in between of 1956 to 1963. Okay, so the computer built in the period from 1956 to 1963 are considered the second generation computers, and these computer made use of transistor. That first generation uses the vacuum tube, so in this they uses the transistor. They use the transistor as processor instead of vacuum tube. Both first and second generation computer used punch card as input. So for the giving the input to the computer system, they used punch card. Okay, either it is the second generation or the first generation. Okay, so this was. So there are some features of the second generation computer, that they use transistors. They reliable in comparison to for the first generation because of they are using vacuum tube, and the heat of the vacuum tube is very high, right? Smaller size as compared to the first generation, we know, generated less heat as compared to the first generation computer, consumed less electricity also, because of in the vacuum tube there was they needed the large amount of electricity also, then faster than the first generation. So if I compare the first generation and the second generation, so there are various advantages, there are various good things in the second generation than the first generation. Okay, so they required a AC. The cost is still very costly, but not than the first generation. Okay, and it supported the assembly language and the machine language. Okay, both the language it is supported. Okay, this is the second generation computer. So let's discuss the third generation. What is the third generation is in between of 1965 to 1971. So in the third generation of the computer, integrated circuits means in first generation there were vacuum tube, in second there were transistor, and in third generation they all reduced the size of the computer system, so they used integrated circuit, that is also known as ICs, begin to be used. Okay, these ICs were called chips. For example, Apple I and IBM as the example of the third generation computer system. Okay, so a single IC has many transistor, resistor and capacitor along with the associated circuitry. Okay, so they used IC, so because of they are small in size. Okay, so there are some characteristics also of the third generation language, that we know that they used IC and more reliable than the previous two generations, and they are smaller in size because of they used IC integrated circuits, and they generated less heat, they're faster than the previous generation's computer, and they also needed less maintenance, and they costly, though because of it was the starting of the computer system, so that's why it was costly. So they also required a AC and consumed lesser electricity than previous generations, and supported high level language. High level means your C, C++, Fortran, so this language was supported. Okay, so this is the feature of the third generation language. See, this is the actual picture of the third generation computer system. Okay, it was look like your Apple 1 and IBM was look like this as shown in the slide. Okay, so this is the example, this is a picture of third generation computer system. Okay, next is our fourth generation computer system. So it was in between of 1971 to 1980. So what in fourth generation computers, a large number of integrated circuits were put together in a material called silicon chip. See, recall again, in first generation they used the vacuum tube, then they used the transistor, then in third they used the ICs, and in the ICs there are a transistor, resistor and the capacitor. And in the fourth generation the integrated circuits were put together. With the integrated circuit there is a silicon chip which was put together, right? It is capable of processing information from all parts of the computer. It is also called the central processing unit or CPU. Means the concept of CPU was originated from fourth generation computer system. Okay, the computer of fourth generation is VLSI. VLSI means the very large scale integrated circuit. Okay, so there are some features of the fourth generation computer system, that VLSI technology is used. They are very cheap than the other generation, because of we know that the cost of the previous three generation were very high. So in this generation the cost were low, cheaper than the previous one, and they are portable also because of their small in size. And use of PCs means we are using personal computer nowadays, so they are in the form of PCs, and very small in size. I know that pipeline processing, that multiple processing can be done one by one, that you can give multiple tasks at that time and it execute one by one. This is known as the pipelining, we say. No AC required. If it had no AC, though there's no need of AC. Okay, so the concept of internet was introduced also, because of at that time the internet also was also introduced, so they also use the concept of internet also. And the great developments in the field of network. Okay, they have created the large network also, and then computers become easily available. So to the people, to the market, this was easy to available for all of. Okay, so this is the features of fourth generation language, the computer, not the language, the computer. So this is the picture of the fourth generation. We know that it is like a desktop we use nowadays also. So this was like that, this is a kind of PC. Okay, what we are using nowadays also. But nowadays the system is also very small in size, we can say. Okay, so the example of fourth generation of the computer system are IBM PC. Okay, your Apple Macintosh is also the example of a fourth generation computer system, which was developed in 1984, produced in 1984. Okay, and then after that your fourth generation computer system was in the form of your laptop and palm top computer have come, that can be carried in your bag also. So nowadays we do the same thing. So this is quite similar, it is quite close to the our generation. So the last generation is our fifth generation computers. So fifth generation computing device will be based on artificial intelligence. What are today is happening, today whatever is happening is a part of fifth generation language, that the robotics, the the system with the high intelligence, high IQ also, we can say, because of the now the machine also have the IQ like a human being. So it is actually programmed like this. So this is the fifth generation what we are living. Okay, so they are still in developments. That your robots are best example of fifth generation. I have already given this. So and the period of fifth generation is 1980 till date. Nowadays what we are using, what we are in, is the fifth generation. And in fifth generation VLSI technology become ULSI, means the ultra large scale integration technology, right, resulting in the production of microprocessor chips having 10 million electronic components. Nowadays in our computer system there is a microprocessor, and then in this microprocessor, in this small microprocessor, there are million of chips, there are million of circuitry design that is used to manipulate the data, as well as logical or the arithmetical, right. So this generation is based on parallel processing hardware and AI, like parallel processing, the multiple tasks, the multitask can be done at the same time. So this is kind of we can say the parallel processing. The task can be performed, the task can be done in parallel, right. So this is all about the generation. So what are the features of the fifth generation? The ULSI technology, development of true artificial intelligence. They are, they succeed to made a robot like a human being, that they are capable to perform the task like a human being. So the development of natural language processing, also advancement in parallel processing, advancement in superconductor technology. So these are the features, these are the advantages of the computer system. They will be able to overcome the limitation of thinking. They can think any kind of task in this fifth generation, right. So this is all about the generation of the languages. Now it is completed the generation of the language. We will discuss the various categories of the computers. According to the generation, what are the categories, what are the types of computer system were made or is making right now, is developing right now. Okay, so there are the categories of the computer. So our categories, what are the categories? There is a mobile computer, there is a microcomputer, there is a mini computer, there is a mainframe computer, there is a supercomputer. Because of there are types of computer, and they are divided on the basis of their capabilities, their processing and their size also. So the categories of the computer is divided on the basis of the task by it performs, the processing it has, processing speed we can say it has, and the size of the computer system. Okay. Yes. First one, the computer. I have already discussed that computers are categorized into various types depending upon their size and their computing capabilities. That what kind of data they can perform, and what is the size of the computer system. So on these two concept, on these two parameters, they are categorized into the categories, into the types. Okay. So first one is our mobile computers. Our mobile computers, a mobile computing device is described as a small, lightweight, portable and containing wireless internet access by the Public Library Association. Okay, so what is mobile computing? Suppose in your mobile phone is the mobile computer, like not your Nokia 1100 whatever it is. So this is not the mobile computer, like it is only the kind of calculator we can say, that it connects with the internet. It should be wireless and it is lightweight, like your tablet. Okay, your tablet is the wireless, right. Your PDA, personal digital assistant, it is a handheld computer. It has a touch screen and memory card for storage of the data, right. Your PDA, your whenever you just go to the any shop, any supermarket, so there is a machine for the processing, for the transaction of money, right. तो आप जाते हो तो आप स्वाइप करते हो कार्ड को, so that is also the mobile computer, right. Your mobile phone, your tablet, your PDA, your kind of, we can say your ATM also is kind of a mobile computer. So these are the mobile computers. Next one is your microcomputer. Microcomputer means like your PC, your personal computer is the microcomputer. A microcomputer is a computer with a central processing unit as a microprocessor designed for individual use. Okay, so these are the most common type of computers used by the people today, whether in a workplace, at a school, or in house. As you know that in your lab also there are number of systems are placed, and it has the CPU, it has the keyboard, it has the monitor, it has the mouse. So it is a PC, it is the personal computer. Personal computer means the computer which is only made for one person, made for individual use, right? So these computers are small in size, they are usually designed for personal use. They are known as the mini computer or the microcomputer. They come in a variety of forms such as your desktop, laptop, your personal digital assistants, means your PDA also, your tablets, you can also take this also, right? Your laptop. So this is also the microcomputer. So this is all about the microcomputer. Then next one is your mini computer. What it is? Mini computer have a high processing speed and are costlier than microcomputer, because of microcomputers used for one person, used for individuals, and they are not exactly. So in terms of size and processing capacity, they come in between mainframes and microcomputers. Several users can use it at the same time. The 12-bit PDP-8 mini computer was the first successful mini computer. So this is the best example of first mini computer, that is PDP-8. Okay, so they are multi-processing machines that can support up to 200 users at the same time. Okay, and it is like a less powerful mainframe computer, and it is about the size of a refrigerator. Okay, like any other lab, any other big organization, so they are using mini computer to store the large amount of data and to give the service to the number of users. The number of users, as you can see on the pictures also, there's one server, there's one main part, there's one head here, and by this computer CPU, their number of terminals are connected, their number of screens are connected. Okay, so this is all about the mini computer. Your next one is the mainframe computers. What is a mainframe computer? Mainframe computers are capable of handling and processing very large amount of data quickly. Okay, they are used in large institutions such as your banks, universities, and your scientific laboratories, etc. Okay, so your IBM Z series system, Z9 and system Z10 services are the best example of the mainframe computers. So because of the banks, the organization, the laboratories need to manipulate, need to process the large amount of data. Suppose let's take the example of the bank. So one branch of a bank, मैं नहीं कहती आप सारी branches की बात करो, सिर्फ एक branch की बात अगर आप करो, so there are thousands of customers in one branch of a particular bank. So there are large amount of transaction, there's a account number, there are other queries the customer have. So the data of those 1,000 customer can be produced, can be manipulated by the computer, which is known as the mainframe. Because of I only talk about only the one branch of another bank, any of the bank, if I say. So if one branch of a bank have 100 customer or 1,000 customer, then calculate that in one city there's a 10 branch of a bank, and let's wide it then in one city, then one state, then one country. If you talk about the how, like millions of customer it has in one bank, right? So this is calculated by the mainframe computer. Next one is the supercomputer. That is the most super than all the computers. Means this is the biggest one computer, right? So the most powerful computer in terms of performance and data processing are the supercomputer. These are specialized and task specific computer used by the large organization. Like these computers are used for many applications, such as your weather forecasting, such as your scientific calculation, your satellite control. आपको पता है यहाँ से सैटेलाइट लॉन्च होती है, राइट? तो ये सारे कंट्रोल के लिए कौन सा कंप्यूटर यूज़ होता है? सुपर कंप्यूटर. कैसे पता चल जाता है कि कल बारिश होनी है या परसों धूप होगी या देयर सम हेज इन दी वेदर? सो दीज कैलकुलेशन, दीज मेजरमेंट कैन बी डन बाय दी supercomputer. Okay, so supercomputer are the most powerful computer with a huge processing speed, as your Param, ETA, A10, etc. are the example of supercomputer. So India's first supercomputer is the Param, right? So this is all about the categories of the computer system. Now we have discussed that what is computer. Now we have discussed the different generation. Now we discussed the types of the computer system on their processing speed, on the basis of their size. Now this was what all about the computers. Now the computer has developed, so there is some usage also, so there is some application of the computer, that in which area the computer are used. So I think nowadays in every area the computer is the most important thing than the human being also. आप कहीं पे भी जाइए, हर एक एरिया में, either you go any kind of work, the computer is the essential part of the human living scenario, right? So we will discuss the different application of the computer. Oh yes, applications of the computer. That's in a school, we know that in a school the computer is used, that teacher use computer to teach different subject. That I am teaching you the computer, so I cannot teach without the computer, right? So making reports card, as you know, you have the printed report card, so it is also done by the computer, right? Downloading information from the internet, the making test paper. Students also use them for playing games and taking online exams, right? So this is all about the school area. The computer is very essential. At your homes also, there are various purposes, that playing games and watching movies. We draw the painting on the paint application, writing letter, store address, we mail, we use the mail to send the messages to someone else. We surf the internet at home, plan budgets and expenses also. This is the usage of a computer at home. The next one is for medical purposes, that in the medical purposes the computer is essential in the labs and hospitals. Some of the uses are listed, that how it is very useful, and in the medical purposes, in the medical area, we say that maintaining details of the patients. By when we go to the hospital, we take a printed receipt that we have registered here. So this thing can be done by the computer system. Storing treatment details of the patients, testing samples, right? Many operations are performed with the help of the computer. This is next is your entertainment industry, that recreating old movies, that that some movies are recreated, so it only can be done by the computer system. Making animated films and cartoons, as you watch the cartoon networks, so these cartoons can only actually produced by the computer system by use of it. Then creating characters and scenes for the various acts, adding special effects, transition, animations. So this kind of thing used in the entertainment, and it is the part of the computer system. So how it is used in the entertainment field. Then your science and technology, and that in science and technology, for launching the missiles and satellite, research and invention, controlling air traffic, or weather forecasting, or research and collection of data, right? So this is all about the science and technology. Your next one is your designing, like designing machine and equipments, drawing the building maps. Okay, then making the houses, making the designs of the houses, maps of the houses. Okay, fashion designers also use computer to design dresses, right? And then in your libraries, that how it is useful in the libraries, that keeping records of a new and stored book, like maintaining the records of the journal and magazine for online research work. Then access to the library's book database, that the student who come to issue the book is already issued to the student or not. If it is not, then it can be issued. So this kind of manipulation, this kind of task can be performed in the computer system, the library. So this was all about the application of the computer system, that how it is useful in every area of living of the human being. We are using in every area the computer system. We are living, our generation are living is impossible without the computer system. We cannot assume anything without the computer system nowadays, right? So this is all about, we have discussed all the things. Just recollect the things what we have discussed in this chapter. The first one is our computer definition, what it was, then the brief history of the computers, then the components of the computer system, the hardware and the software, then the components of the hardware, it has how many components, then the various generation of the computers from first generation to the fifth generation, then the categories of the computer system, then on the basis of that size and the processing speed, then the application area of the computer system. So I think this chapter is very much